Hey guys, I'm Eric from Founders Beta. Today I'm delighted to have Alex from Smile.io. Alex is going to talk about marketing, gives you lots of tips and how to even break into marketing as well for those of you guys who are interested. So Alex, thanks for joining today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so maybe let's start with you're working at a startup in Waterloo called Smile.io. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Smile.io, we do loyalty programs for online businesses. So if someone was to start up an e-commerce store online tomorrow, they could use Smile to run a points program, a VIP program, or a referral program.
Okay, so you really make it easy for brands, I guess, to build their community, right?
For sure. You can get a Smile program going in just a couple minutes.
Awesome, great. So tell us a bit about your role and like when it comes to marketing and how did you start there and where you are today?
Cool. I think it might be a little bit better to start at the beginning then.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
How we got here. So I never really thought I would be a marketer. When I was in university, I went to Laurier locally here. And when I was in university, I was selling computers and printers at Staples. So I was working the sales floor for, I think, about 2 years while I was in university. So I thought for sure my first job was going to be in sales because I had that experience. Actually, one of my colleagues in my class did a co-op with Smile, which was Sweet Tooth at the time. And he said, hey, you should come interview. We're looking for some people. And we were very, very small at the time. And the goal was when Shane and I were hired that one of us was going to do sales and the other one was going to do marketing. So again, I thought for sure I was going to be put into lead what we were doing on the sales front, but then I ended up being put into marketing, which I didn't have a ton of experience doing, but welcome the challenge.
Right.
When I got started, it was mostly, we decided to take the inbound marketing strategy and really focus on content in the early days of Sweet Tooth and now Smile. So ended up doing content marketing for a bit, ended up doing a stint in product management as well here at Smile before coming back onto the marketing team.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah. So, expanding on that content marketing, in the early days, it's so hard to get traffic, right? Or any sort of users. Do you have any tips, for content for startups?
Yeah, I think even just like generally speaking for marketing, when you have a small team and you don't have the traffic there yet, it's really tempting to just go and pay for it. It's really tempting to go and make advertising really hard and pay for that growth. The unfortunate thing is when you start paying for that growth, it doesn't scale very well. And eventually you're going to get diminishing returns out of the advertising spend that you're putting there. So you're seeing a lot more people turn to content marketing as both a way of acquiring new users, more traffic, but also retaining those long term.
Right. Absolutely. I'm also a big fan of inbound marketing, right? Like putting together content. Also, the thing with advertising too, as soon as you stop spending money, you lose, as soon as you stop spending money, you lose the traffic. There's nobody visiting your site, right?
Yeah, we like to say it's kind of like hunting and farming, right? So if you're advertising, it's hunting. You're out there, you have to actively be doing it. But if you're doing content, you're doing evergreen or value add marketing techniques, it's more like farming. I need to plant it, I need to keep it going, but it's always going to be providing for me.
Right. It's more also like a long-term strategy too, like to get ranking on Google and like, continue to add a lot of value-added content, like you mentioned. I think that's huge because I think sometimes a lot of startups want to post content, but the content quality is not there, right?
That's the tough part though. In the early days, it's really hard to realize what is good content and what
Right.
is good content, especially when someone's really used to advertising and be like, hey, we have this product, come and buy it.
Right.
And when you translate that into the content space and end up writing blogs and doing videos of we have this product, come buy it, it ends up being exactly like advertising and no one really cares.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. So great. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. What else do we have here? Okay. So how about some of, what are some challenges you think startups face in marketing in general, like in the very beginning, you want to do content, like what other things do you think you can do to potentially get your users excited or get those first early set of customers?
Yeah, I think I think one of the biggest challenges facing a startup in the marketing world is it's very tempting to go look at what other people are doing
Hmm.
and then try to copy it. My biggest piece of advice is whatever stage you're at in your company's kind of business life cycle, try to look to someone who's like one step further than you are to get you to that next step. Because if you just started your company yesterday and you're trying to take the marketing playbook from, let's say, like Shopify,
Right.
way more advanced than you are at this stage right now, and they have way more resources. So trying to copy someone at that stage
Hmm.
isn't isn't the best advice. I would look for what's going on in your space. How can you do something that's different? It could be content. Maybe it is paid advertising if you're in a space where people aren't doing that. Try
True.
to find a way to stand out and look to someone just a little bit bigger. You don't want to reinvent the wheel, but you also don't want to copy something that's going to be unobtainable.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's so huge, right? Like just seeing how you can add value to your industry and how you can differentiate. I think differentiation is such a key, right?
Mhm.
Just putting things together. Also, I think notice that video these days is becoming more and more common, right? Like, is that something you think some startups should look into more, or any ideas on video marketing?
Yeah, I think video marketing and content, like generally when people speak about content marketing, they're thinking about ebooks, they're thinking about blogs, but
Right.
webinars, videos, I don't know, anything from like a comic strip, like these are all different ways of putting your message in some sort of consumable content. So
Right.
I think that it is a good call. And the medium that you choose is going to depend on what other people are doing, right?
Right. Right.
If you're in, I think one of the best ways to explain this is traditionally when you're doing B2B or selling to businesses, people say like, oh, like video and content, it doesn't work because those guys just don't buy like that. You need to go and like take them out for dinner and like buy
Right.
that sort of thing. But if you break away from what everyone else is doing, they're going to find what you have to say interesting. Don't be like everyone else.
Right, right. Exactly. Stand out, right? Be different, just like Apple. Right? So, okay, excellent. All right, so let's talk about okay, so I know we briefly talked about how you got into marketing and how do you like what are some of your favorite resources or people that just want to get started in marketing? Like what's a good way to just get your hands on maybe projects or yeah.
Yeah, I think for anyone trying to break into marketing, depending on what you're trying to do, if you're trying to get a better understanding of marketing to better promote your personal blog or a project or a business that you're working on, it's going to be look to those other companies, look what other people are doing and try to take the best of a couple different things and build your own thing. If you're trying to break into a career in marketing and you want to go work for someone, my biggest piece of advice for breaking into anything really is just go start talking to people. Ask
Mm,
some of the people around you, hey, who's the best marketer you know? They'll tell you someone, hey, do you mind giving me an intro? Go and buy that person a coffee, go and buy them a beer, and just start asking them a lot of the questions that we're talking about right now. See what they think, see how they would recommend that you do things. Because if you don't start talking to people and start building that network of like-minded people, it's going to be really, really tough to break into the space.
right. Yes. Great tips because we have so many students on Founders Beta. They're looking to break into startups. They're looking to get into marketing. But like you said, I think the best way is just to start having conversations with people. Get out there, get out of the comfort zone, right?
The worst way to find a job is to just throw your resume around. That's for sure.
That's right. Yes, yes. I think just sitting all day applying online, that just should be a small part of what you do, but right. So, but I think also, especially in cities like, for example, in Waterloo, it's such a small community, right? So I think people are very accessible. I think in many startups there, so you
Yeah,
can.
for sure. If you say, hey, I'll meet you downtown and grab a coffee, like I'll come to you, it's going to be very difficult for that person to say no.
Yeah, yeah, right, done, right. So okay, awesome. Are there any resources you recommend, books you follow, or I mean blogs you follow, or
Yeah, so there's a company called Drift, and I just think they do a fantastic job of marketing. So following their blog, their VP marketing, his name's Dave Gerhardt. Following him on LinkedIn, he always has a bunch of like good tips and tricks for anyone who's getting into marketing. I
right.
think one of the ways that I like to consume content is I like to read. I like to read books more than I like to kind of follow blogs. So some of my go-to marketing books are Influence by Rob Cialdini, Different by Young Mi Moon, and there's actually a new book on positioning your product that came out called Obviously Awesome.
Oh, by April, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
a fantastic book, and it takes no time at all to get through it, and it just really changes the way you think about how your product exists out there in the market.
Awesome. Yeah, such good resources. As soon as we finish the video, I'll make a post about those. Great. Okay, so we know working in a startup can be very challenging, right? Like, what are some ways you can just like you take time off work, you relax, and kind of get out there and and do nothing.
Yeah. The longer I go, the more years I do this, the better I get at that. When I first started in this, I was nonstop all the time. Take work
Right.
with me, work till I went to bed, wake up early, and do it again.
Right.
It seems like a really good idea in the moment, but you burn out pretty quick.
Right.
Have that time relaxing to get your best ideas into your head and like actually be able to execute on them. I don't know if I'm definitely not the best person at taking some time for myself, but some of the things that I like to do is taking some time to read, break away from.
Right.
Also a big fan of playing basketball, so
Oh yeah.
2 or 3 times a week I like to try to get out and just go shoot by myself, put my headphones on.
Right. Nice. Yeah, I think in startups it's so tempting to just all work and keep going and going, right? But like you said, I think burnout like sometimes it happens. It's like you have to try to look after yourself and try to balance it out as much as it's more like a blend. It's like a work-life blend, right? It's like. Especially with these days, you got Slack people like messaging you at like some really off times but yeah, I think it's a challenge, but something I think for our audience too is to take care of yourself first, right?
And that's a really good point about Slack. And that's actually something that I've started to do now is if you're going to go take a vacation or you're going to take an extra, like you're going to take Friday off and have a long weekend at the cottage,
Right.
turn Slack off.
Yeah.
If you're going to go have a vacation and actually disconnect from everything. You'll thank yourself when you come back rather than always get like a hit.
That's right. You're in vacation. You're getting those notifications. Your Twitter is on. Like, it's like there's some fire at work. It's like, oh my God, like what did I do? Right? So awesome, great. Let's talk about motivation. Day in, day out. Like, how do you stay motivated, Alex?
It's a really good question, and it's a tough one to answer, but I really do think that continuing to read, continuing to learn. I don't know who said it, but if you think you're the smartest person in the room, then you quickly won't be. So always being open to talking to other people, open to other ideas to actually keep things moving. And I think that's what actually motivates me is what can I learn next? What can I add to my repertoire of skills right now by being open-minded?
Right. Yeah, that's a great way because I think motivation in startups is always tough, right? In the beginning, you don't have much momentum. You're trying to build something and grow your way, but keeping it together at all times, it can be hard. So
Yeah, and if there's anyone listening who's starting their own product or starting their own business, and as more and more people start to join the team, like it's not even just about keeping yourself motivated; it's about keeping around you motivated. And someone actually recently told me if you're getting people to build boats, you don't want people to get excited about building the boat. You want them to yearn for the sea. You want them to be there on the water and build the boat to be there. So making sure that people always understand why they're doing something will keep people more motivated than just understanding what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, that's such a key, especially for startups, having that vision and like kind of strive for your goals. Great. So how about what's the best advice you ever gotten, Alex?
There's been so many. I think that
if you can narrow it to one.
Yeah,
or two.
I think it would be making sure that you understand your wins just as much as you understand your losses. And I think it's very tempting when we lose it's a great time to learn, and you'll hear that all the time. You'll be like, okay, why did that happen? How can we understand it? How can we avoid it in the future?
Right.
We as humans have a tendency when we win to be like, oh, we're just really smart. That was just, I did that extremely well. We how lucky we could have been, or
Yeah,
that
exactly.
caused that, didn't actually do it. So making sure that every single time there's a big win, you analyze it just as much as if there was a big loss. Don't just think I'm so smart, that was just a thing that I did. Really take a look at it and understand why that happened, because that big win can be just as strong of a learning opportunity as the losses.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. So for our audience that want to, connect with you, well, where do they go? Are you on Twitter? Are you on LinkedIn? Or, yeah.
I'm on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. My Twitter profile is a little bit barren lately, but
Okay.
follow me at Alex MCEA. And if you look up Alex McEachern on LinkedIn, you can follow me there as well.
Awesome. And, for our audience that want to learn about Smile, smile.io, where do they go?
Head to our careers page. We're always hiring for people. So if you're looking to break into pretty much any discipline in a startup, Smile wants to talk to you.
There we go. So, we got smile.io hiring as well, guys. So check them out, please, and connect with Alex if you have any questions for Alex regarding marketing and how to get into startups and, building that 5-star stellar career. Alex is the person to talk to. So, so I think that's about it. I think thanks so much, Alex, for the time to chat today. So,
You're welcome, and thanks for having me. It was fun.